We have heard from players over the years that there are certain places that they would much rather not be if they had the choice to.
Luckily, kind of in Seattle, so there's not really any clubs or things of that nature that, to go out to.
Well, being a professional athlete seems like, and is, a dream to many. The reality is that in many ways, it's still a job. A job in which the employee doesn't always have complete control of what city they live in. So, without further ado, let's take a look back at 10 NFL players who trashed the city they played in. Willis McGahee, the Bills' former first-round pick in the 2003 NFL Draft, who put the city of Buffalo on notice in a big way after he was shipped out of town to the Baltimore Ravens. McGahee made some outrageous comments on life in Western New York to a reporter ahead of his return to Orchard Park as a member of the Ravens. Coming from Miami, I was used to partying, going out, just having something to do every night. Restaurants, whatever. Going to Buffalo, it was like hitting a brick wall. Like, damn, can't go out, can't do nothing. There's an Applebee's, a TGI Fridays, and they just got a Dave & Buster's. They got that, and I'm like, what the? And, the women. Yes, Willis? What about the women? Please, do tell. Considering Complex reported McGahee welcomed his 10th child from his 9th baby mama back in 2014, it's safe to suspect that McGahee could probably tell the world quite a bit about the women in Buffalo, even if he only spent 4 seasons there. I mean, he didn't play a single game his rookie year due to injury, so he must have had plenty of time on his hands to conduct, assessments. If it weren't bad enough that the Bills running back skewered the city's nightlife and women, he also made some choice remarks that implied the team should move to Toronto. Now, his agent Drew Rosenhaus did help him backtrack from that assertion, explaining that his comments to Penthouse regarding the Bills moving were somehow taken out of context. McGee was dealt to Baltimore shortly after these remarks, and I think it's safe to say that the bridge with Buffalo was sufficiently burnt. Hilariously, another Bills running back, MARSHAWN LYNCH, actually parodied this with Kenny Mayne. During this main event segment that was inspired by McGee's comments, Lynch joked about spending most of his rookie contract dollars on skee ball, and being okay with it because that was supporting the Buffalo economy.
The rookie has spent most of his signing bonus on skee ball, saying it's good for the Buffalo economy. On the really crazy nights, Lynch has been known to return to Applebee's.
The entire segment was absolute gold. Joe and teammates talk about how much MARSHAWN loves chain restaurants.
Oh yeah, this spot hot. Hey, I love the ambiance. I love the decor.
Good times never stop in Buffalo.
As it turns out, Lynch, like McGahee, did have some consternation about life in Buffalo.
I just knew I was going to New York, so I thought it was finna be on and popping. I thought I was finna be out there with Jay-Z.
Once he realized that just because he was drafted to a New York franchise, it didn't mean what he initially thought.
And then when I finally landed in Buffalo, oh man, slush on the ground, just finished snowing. I ain't know nothing about no snow.
The clip is honestly pretty hilarious. Even years later, you can still see the shock reverberating through his expression. Glad it worked out better for him with the people of Buffalo than it did for McGahee. Jordan Matthews, another former Buffalo Bill, supported the hypothesis that there wasn't much else to do in Buffalo besides engage in extracurriculars. After he left Orchard Park to sign with Philadelphia, he told the media,
"When I was in Buffalo, there's like nothing to do there except have fun with your wife." So then she got pregnant. So we always say we got a Buffalo baby. Ain't nothing to do there except each other. So I got this little dude, man. His name's Josiah.
Who knew Matthews had such a way with words? Anyway, Buffalo is not the only city that has caught multiple strays over the years. The good people of Cincinnati have seen their city pinged by its players too. Joe Burrow, the Bengals star quarterback, inadvertently did so when explaining to the media how and why the team was able to do such a good job avoiding COVID-19 and staying in line with protocols.
We're doing a great job with our COVID protocols. Fortunately, there's not a ton to do in Cincinnati, so it's not nobody's going out to clubs and bars and getting COVID every weekend.
The best part of this clip is how matter-of-fact he says it. His expression didn't change for a second. And Burrow grew up in Ohio, so it's not like he was trying to take a shot at the city or the state. The man was simply calling it as he saw it. He did get some minor backlash from fans, but nothing compared to the way Bills fans revolted against McGahee, likely because of the tone he made his comments in. And, well, because Burrow is the best thing to happen to Cincinnati in decades. So the fans have no choice but to love him, or at least they'd be wise to. To make matters worse for the Bengals fan base, one of their former stars, Chad Ochocinco, decided to add his 2 cents to the conversation and put the city's entertainment scene further under the microscope. Joe Burrow said there's not much to do in Cincinnati. I beg to differ. There's a Starbucks downtown, a McDonald's in Covington, and an O'Charlie's in Tri-County, which in fact has the best complimentary bread known to man. Not exactly as shocked to see Chad pile on, especially since it gave him a chance to re-enter the limelight. If there's one thing I know about old number 85, he likes his attention, even if it comes at the expense of the people of Cincinnati. Staying in the Midwest, Green Bay has also gotten its fair share of criticism over the years, which, considering it's the smallest market in all 4 major sports in the US, makes sense. One former Packer, William Blackman, tweeted, and since deleted, that the city was so boring. And just like what we saw in Cincy, some fans were a little bit defensive of their native city. And a couple of these players, including Dimitri Goodson, chimed in, telling the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, "Trust me, it's boring." But it's not bad. He did explain, however, that he liked living there because, like Burrow explained about Cincinnati, it kept him out of trouble. And that once the season is over, then the players can go have their fun. I completely get where these guys are coming from, but man, that is not the best way to integrate yourself with the fans. We actually saw something similar happen to one of the Packers' most vaunted rivals, the Minnesota Vikings. In this case, it was the Vikings' former quarterback, Case Keenum, who famously orchestrated the Minneapolis Miracle. And then the hero of the moment, Keenum, departed to Denver, where he made his derogatory comments about his former city.
That place that day, those Minnesota, I mean, they're crazy up there. They're so cold, they got nothing going on, but Vikings and ice fishing.
Damn, Case, tell us how you really feel. Most of these guys have beef with their city's weather or nightlife, but former Chiefs quarterback Steve Bono took things a step further when he went after Kansas City's food. More specifically, he joked that the worst restaurant in San Francisco, where he had played previously, was better than the best restaurant in Kansas City. A lot of restaurants here are well-intentioned, but they don't understand how to put things together, he says. They'll order all those interesting ingredients and mix them in a strange combination. So what Tina and I will do is order a dish, but without 2 or 3 of the ingredients. Then order a couple of other ingredients that belong in there on the side. Man, what a treat Bono must have been to have in those restaurants. Okay, time to stop putting screws in America's heartland. The Midwest has taken enough flack in this video. And besides, there are plenty of other cities that have garnered criticism from players that live there. Take the Emerald City, Seattle, for example. Bobby Wagner, who had been with the team for years, made very similar comments to Burrow's while talking about Seattle ahead of the 2020 COVID-plagued NFL season, saying,
"How much is it on players to police themselves, to do things like stay at home, stay safe, do things you normally wouldn't have to tell them to do in a season?"
I think discipline is going to be the biggest things. Luckily, kind of in Seattle, so there's not really any clubs or things of that nature that to go out to.
Wagner wasn't nearly as stoic as Burrow either. You can see him sort of cracking himself up talking about Seattle. Coincidentally, Richard Sherman, another member of the Legion of Boom, made similar comments ahead of the 2020 NFL season. But his comments weren't about Seattle, but rather Santa Clara, where his new team, the San Francisco 49ers, played. On a team like ours, we're uniquely constructed to deal with this because obviously we're in Santa Clara. There's not a huge nightlife. It's not like we in Atlanta or Texas or Miami or Las Vegas or LA, where there are a lot of distractions and a lot of things you can do to get yourself in trouble. Sherman did, however, catch himself and proceeded to take some of the pressure off the city to pay some credit to his teammates, who he explained were incredibly committed towards the goal of winning a Super Bowl. Yeah, okay, Richard, a little late there. You said Santa Clara is boring. Now own it. But which NFL city do you believe would be the absolute worst to play in? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.